Is everyone ready to rock and roll, eh? Yeah. Brilliant. Right, Angus, we've got drams in front of us, we've got a crowd here. You know what to do. Clap us in. Welcome along to the Whisky Stories, Indie Baller Spotlight with the Thompson Brothers! Yeah, there we go, Angus.
That's the most enthusiastic cheer we've had yet.
We've done it again, Angus. We have done it again. We've convinced people to come and listen to us and drink drams, eh?
Absolutely, and you know, fuck the Gallagher brothers. We've got one of the Thompson brothers.
Exactly, that's it. There's Oasis going on. We're in the middle of Edinburgh Fringe, but this is the hottest property in town. A sellout gig for us tonight, Angus.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Well, welcome along. We've got Simon Thompson, one of the Thompson brothers. I think, you know, the Gallagher brothers are pretty used to falling out with each other. There wasn't any hard words said at Edinburgh Whisky Fringe today, you know?
Oh, it happens from time to time. So yeah, so we've got stand-in. I'm trying out a solo career, and Dan's my backing band here. So Dan's our head distiller. But no, we're good. Phil's just has to hold down the Whisky Fringe tonight.
Well, yeah, I mean it is day one of Whisky Fringe, so you know a busy day for you guys. Has anyone been to Whisky Fringe today? No, yeah. No.
Honestly, I was a little bit concerned that like everyone would have been today, and then everyone would just be wasted with 6 25ml drams to go.
Yeah, that was like 25ml drams if everyone else is pouring, 35 if Angus is pouring usually. But no, thank you for coming along.
Is anyone doing Saturday? Doing Sunday?
Is it who's going to Whisky Fringe actually? Who's going? Saturday, brilliant,
Nice.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. Are we, sorry, just 2 seconds, we will get the music off if that's at all possible. Sorry, thank you. Aye, so, brilliant. Whisky Fringe today, how was it?
Yeah, hectic. We were late. There was something on which caused an excessive amount of traffic. So, yeah, we got there 2 minutes after it started. The gates were locked for the staff entrance type thing, so we had to walk past everyone with all our cases, do the walk of shame past everyone.
Right.
Just like, yeah, everyone knows we're late.
And what was the halftime orange today? I'd love to know what the Thompson brothers are sticking under the table for that.
Yeah, so our unnamed Isla Single Malt 33-year-old 1991, which may or may not be from a south side Isla distillery that rhymes with leapfrog.
Brilliant.
I beg then.
And we've got Dan here. Dan, we've met before. If anyone's watched the Dornoch trip that Angus, Ross, Chuck and I did, we were getting right in your road in your little distillery, because it is a very little distillery that you're in, and it was like the morning, and I think you had a lot of work to do, and we were sort of getting in the way of you as you were trying to do your job.
Yeah,
you were doing cuts, I think.
You were doing the heart cut.
No, it was okay actually. Sorry, I'm French, so sorry for the accent. No, it was alright.
Are you just apologising for the accent or apologising for being French?
Both, maybe. Who knows? No, it was alright. You were in the way, but I'm used to that, I guess. No, it was alright.
Yeah.
No bother.
Great. Well, thank you very much for both coming along. I think we've got drams in front of us. I think we just want to get fired straight in before we start talking about who we are, what we're drinking, and everything like that. Simon.
So before anyone goes thirsty, so in theory, on your left, but just double check your darker dram, just to be sure. So Thompson Brothers blended Scotch Whisky, 6-year-olds, TB BSW, because we, sometimes we're a bit unimaginative with naming, and this was its kind of working title, and then we're like, always stick that on the label, it'll be fine. So yeah, fun little 6-year-old blend as a warm-up. Technically, legally still aging, so, when do we buy it? I've actually got noted down the AYS, age of youngest spirit. So technically, legally now 9 years old, but it worked really well as its original form as BSW 6-year-olds. We just kept rolling with that. The liquid's not changing. It's all from the same original vatting. So it's one of these fun things where every now and again in the whiskey industry, an error occurs. Someone really messes up in the bottling plants, in the vatting, and something older gets contaminated with something younger or something of a different category, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh crap, right, get rid of this, sell it out to the brokerage market. So this is one of these things. So it really punches above its age and category, and we could be bottling it as a 9-year-old, but yeah, it just keeps on going. It's all the same original 20,000 litre vat, got a little bit of it left. But yeah, I think a good example of that recently, if you guys tried the Living Souls 99 and 1.
We have, Graham.
Did we?
I can't remember where, but we definitely tried it because I remembered it. So we must
Right,
have.
we must have tried it, yeah.
But I remember it was very good as well.
Thank you for the person that provided us that
Somebody-
drum. That's
somebody
listening to this
gave-
podcast
somebody
going,
gave
it was
it
me!
Yeah, so that's a similar kind of thing. Happens every so often. I think they said what that was, so I'm not allowed to say what that was. But yeah, so so in that situation, it was meant to be this year's Leaching 18-year-old.
Right.
The vatting tank had something 3 years old dropped in error, so the whole vat, 20,000 litres, which is fairly standard size for vats, became the age of the youngest thing in there, which is about 1% or less 3-year-old. So these things happen every so often, and the best thing you can do is take advantage of it and be able to put something out that's really good quality to price ratio, even if the age statement and name has to kind of hide what it is.
So how much can you tell us? You've alluded to the fact that there was a mistake made, which has allowed you to get hold of 20,000 litres of something.
I can't say. I've privately told like some shops and stuff before, and one of the shops stuck it up on their website. So it was briefly there, and I think a lot of people now know what it is, what the distillery that's basically 99% of this is, 99% single malt that was 12-year-old at the point of being contaminated, which will now be like 15-year-old, I guess, at this point. So yeah, technically a blend, and I feel really bad because online Scotch Whisky Awards the last 2 years, this is one best blend, and it's
an accidental blend.
It's technically legally it's a blend, but we didn't blend it.
You didn't do any blending. No, it also says you're saying, sorry, Chuck.
I would say it's a really interesting one after the conversation we had yesterday with Craig.
Yeah.
The company that he worked for.
Yeah, listen to that next week. You'll hear that. But you say it's 6 years old. But what's interesting on the bottle? First of all, we're going to talk about your labels as the evening goes on. But aged over 6. I should just say as well, everybody, Slanjavar, cheers, enjoy this. Thank you very much. First dram of the night. Great, thank you very much.
Cheers.
But it says aged over 6 years, so normally you wouldn't see that on a label. Is that you guys just giving a nod to the situation?
Yeah, I mean, you used to see a lot of old bottles with aged over, and aged over 6 years. So it could be 6 years in a day, but quite often single malts and sometimes blends were built up of things that were there's a minimum age of 12, but we've got these old sherry casks no one wants, so we'll chuck some of that in to colour it up.
Yeah.
So you used to see it in the 70s and 80s. Used to be, I remember like the old Ord over 8? But you used to see it in a lot of old labels, and so we do harken back to a lot of older labels of whiskey in what we do. It's a bit of a mishmash. You'll see on the next one as well. That's a homage to an old label that probably most people have forgotten. Whereas the labels for these ones, again, everything we do gets a unique label. We've done over 500 unique releases with unique labels. But this one, same guy does some of our rum ones. He's a barman in Hiroshima, and years ago we were so when we first started Distillery, we were doing some gin, we were exporting to Japan, we did a tasting, and he did a hand-drawn poster, and we're like, oh, I like the style, and just kind of kept that filed in the back of the mind. So then later on when we were doing rums, we're like, would you do a rum label for us?
Yeah.
And then he did both the BSW, the SRV5 blend, and he does all of our rum labels for us. He refuses to take money, which is
that's handy.
kind of. We're trying to, he does work that has value to us, so he should get something.
Yeah.
So he refused any form of compensation. So in the end, we just started filling casks of Dornoch and stamping his name on it, sending him the certificate. And it's like, thank you.
Well, so he's been getting casks of Dornoch, or just...
I mean, not a lot of casks.
Not a lot of casks. I mean,
But,
I'd draw you a label for a cask of Dornoch, to be perfectly honest. You tell me what you want on that label, and I'll do my very best to draw it for you.
He does a good line in Stickman.
I can do that.
You'll just be on ChatGPT
Yeah.
or Midjourney.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, ChatGPT, please create a label for me. But Dan, I'm interested to know how a Frenchman like yourself ends up, working in Dornoch Distillery in that sort of distilling role.
Just because I heard about the Thompson Brothers back in 2018 on a French forum, and I knew that they were aiming at recreating the old style whiskies, and I just found that very interesting.
Yeah.
So that's pretty simple. Just the intention.
So what was that? When did you say that was? Around?
In 18, and I moved to Scotland in 18.
So you actually, so you're right. So you're sitting reading a forum, a French forum, a whiskey forum, and you said you read about the Thompson Brothers, and then what was the sort of process from there?
I started working at Dornoch Distillery 2 years and a half ago, but I've been heard about them for nearly 7 years.
There's a little bit more to that where, so that he's got his qualification in brewing distilling from Heriot Watts. He was working at another distillery, and then he was dating one of our members of staff.
Ah, right, okay. So you were briefly on a French forum of whiskey, and then you jumped onto Tinder. Started swiping in Dornoch and see where it goes.
It was indeed Tinder. But yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, there we go. Called it.
But it was almost the opposite though, because Dan was dating Vary. We knew he was a distiller. We knew he worked for, and I think we had him up for a day just to play in the distillery. Just for fun. It's like, oh, this guy's pretty good actually. And I said to Vary, so can we think about employing him? And I think it was early in the relationship. She's like, absolutely not. And then we waited until things were getting a bit more serious. And Dan was looking for a job at single malt whiskey distilleries, and I was like, can we employ Dan now? Because we were quite impressed, and now Dan and Vary are married.
Fantastic, great. Would have been awkward if they didn't work out though. But well done, Dan. Well done, that's fantastic. Bring your boyfriend to work and you get a distiller on the back of it there. Absolutely. What are we thinking of this then, lads?
It's fantastic.
I've got a bottle of this. I have to say, I've got a bottle of this in the house because retail-wise, you're looking at what you're looking at that.
So I think it started at $32.50 3 or 4 years ago. I think RRP's $37.50, but we give a good margin to retailers, so a lot of them drop that down to 35 or 34.
Yeah.
So you can pick up. You should be able to pick up for like 34, 35 at the moment. It does really well. And I was checking earlier because I sometimes get asked, because I've said before it's running out because it's all one big 20,000 litre batch, and I was doing the calculations on how much we had left. But there's still 9 butts remaining. Each butt will output about 700 bottles. But we've just had 2 shipped up to Dornoch for bottling, and we have shipped 2 off to our friends at Living Souls, who are talking about 1991, because I so badly wanted the liquid from 1991, but we've come to a little fun agreement, and we're going to do a blend of blends. So we're going to do a 1991 crossed with BSW.
Oh wow!
Literally going to be called like TBBSW 99/1.
Wow.
Like the worst name for.
Yeah. Well,
I was going to say it's going to actually sound like the barcode of the.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right. So, with regards, I know you can't disclose too much information on the mistake that was made and how it was made, etc., where it's come from, etc. But if you're looking at bottling this selling this at £35, what would, if this hadn't been contaminated?
Yeah.
What would the liquid be kind of retailer roughly? I mean, a rough figure. What would you be saying?
It's a distiller I don't look at because they tend to be too expensive.
Right.
And they act in such a way that they don't want my custom, I guess.
Okay, right.
So I pretend they don't exist, to be honest.
Right, but it was so that, I mean, when you look at that, when the fact that you can sell it at £35, you're even saying you're giving retailers generous margins. You'll still be making something on the back of that as well. So, I mean, that must have been a pretty expensive mistake for the poor guy that put the digits in the wrong place in that day. Yeah,
it happens every now and again. So I think we've seen a few good ones over the year. There was the 80-20, was it Glenmorangie Ardbeg, LV, it was before LVMH. They did one where there was an accidental contamination of, same bottling plant, Glenmorangie and Ardbeg. That was a good one. Oh. Yeah, do you remember it was 80-20? I think they sold it in supermarkets, no names, but it was
really?
I think it was 80% Glenmorangie, 20% Ardbeg, if I remember correctly. But every now and again, but some companies will like make a thing of it, and others are just like, this ruins our plans. We don't want to get the marketing department involved, get new label signs. These things take a while for some companies, so just like get it out the door.
Just get rid of it. Wow.
Yeah.
What are we thinking of this, guys? How are we feeling about it? Nice, easy going starting one, isn't it? And then what, 46% ABV as well?
Yeah, 46%.
So a nice, easy going
Yeah,
dram.
it's
And
a
like I
good
say,
percent as well.
a great whiskey to have just in the house as well. Like a real good house dram to have in the house. Anyone got a bottle of this already? Got one, Craig? Yeah. Yeah, a few people there. Yeah. Easy going, eh? Yeah. It's gone. But that's the thing, there's plenty left, so go down and get yourself another one. Well, that's it. Right, so that's dram number 1 then, Simon. What we got for dram number 2 then? You've alluded to what we've got.
Yeah. So this year marks the 25th anniversary of Thompson family at Dornoch Castle Hotel. So, against their better judgment, we've taken over the Dornoch Castle Hotel to continue the legacy, secure the long-term future of Dornoch Distillery. Our dad's still involved in the business, kind of their day-to-day. And to mark 25 years, we've done a series of bottlings with these labels here. So these labels are a homage to the old Prestonfield House Hotel labels. So they did lots of legendary Bowmore bottles. So it's kind of a nod to those old style labels. So yeah, I think it works really well. We make sure it's super good juice that goes into the 25th anniversary bottles. So we'll do a wee series of these over the course of the year. But yeah, this is a Glen Scotia first fill barrel, 11 years old. 2013, and yeah, one of 235 bottles from a single cask at 57.1% ABV, which happens to be the old Imperial 100 proof.
Oh wow, there you go.
Okay.
Which was
I was going to say
drinking
with
strength.
that typeface, I wasn't sure whether it was Dornoch Castle or Colditz Castle that was going to be on the label.
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
it's nice that kind of harks back to. I mean, I can't recall the kind of original Prestonfield House Hotel bottles, but
like a lot of what we do, it's just far too niche to the point you have to explain
exactly.
it.
But
You
it's
have to
nice
explain
that
it to people.
but it's nice that you have to explain it to people in a way.
I mean, you mentioned there the hotel, so you guys, I don't know how you do it, in the sense that running a hotel is one thing.
It certainly is.
Running an independent bottler, and you're not putting out 1 or 2 bottles a year. You're putting out. I mean, how many bottles will Thompson Brothers independent bottlers will you guys release over the course of a year?
So the maximum output in 1 year we've ever had from our station road bottling site. So the other thing is we're full process, so we do our own bottling, warehousing, all our own logistics. It's all from quite a small site, bursting at the seams. So that's the limit on what we can do, is the space we've got to play with.
Well, I should say, sorry, if you haven't already watched it in March, we went up to visit you guys for a weekend, and you gave us full access. We went around. Chuck was the cameraman.
It was, yeah.
Footage might give you motion sickness.
But it's
Genuinely sorry about that.
to see the episode. To watch what these guys do. The hotel, the distillery, the plans for the new distillery. We'll talk about all that, and your warehouses and stuff like that. When Simon says it's a tight, small operation, it's a very tight, small operation.
And the pizzas are nicer than the whiskey.
Yeah, we do good pizzas too.
The pizzas are great.
Yeah, so the maximum we've ever had, we've been able to get out of the site is 57,000 bottles out to market in a year, and that's bursting at the seams.
And no, but what about releases of? Well, that's a hell of a lot. But in terms of
that's
independently, but was that Dornoch as well, or?
Yeah, I mean, we really don't bottle up Dornoch. Thankfully, because this does really well. There's no pressure to put out. I mean, we've barely put any Dornoch out this year because we've basically been so busy.
But you're like 50,000 bottles are going out the door, which you guys are bottling yourselves.
Yep.
Yeah, you've got you're sourcing the casks. You're going through all that process, which for the majority of people is enough. That's a job, right? You're also running and managing a hotel. But you've decided as well, you've got a distillery in your back garden that you've got guys working on, so you've got to manage that. And then on top of that, you've decided, well, let's build another distillery in Dornoch as well, which you've got a really great run of crowdfunding on that as well.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the guys at the circus who are spinning plates?
Yeah.
And there's like 5, and there's 10, and there's 20, and there's 30 plates all spinning all at once. Yes, it's basically like that.
Yeah, because I mean, it really is quite incredible, like what you guys will be doing here. But to the hotel history then in the family. Is that where you and Phil started out then working? That was working behind the bar and just being in and around the hotel.
Yeah, you're 15 years old and the barman had a gambling and stealing problem. Well, a gambling problem, and then was stealing stuff to keep that. and then he gets caught, and then you don't have anyone. And you're like, all right, I guess I'm doing this, dropping in. So we started quite young. Then you finish some bottles of whiskey. I think at that point we had 20-something bottles in the bar. Then you're tasting, and you're going, oh, actually, let's get another one of these. Let's try something different for this space, and it just kind of accelerated. Obviously, went off. Did university, education, that kind of stuff. Ended up coming back to help out summer holidays, then kind of got absorbed into it. And then it got to a point where using trade accounts, it's like, okay, ordering one for me as well as some for the bar. And I started collecting, which was a slippery slope. Collecting led to going off to, this is before online whiskey auctions, except I think maybe whiskey auction in Germany was maybe on the go at that point. That led to going off to all these small provincial auctions as well, some of the big ones, all in-person live hammer auctions, and buying stuff for the bar, where we started to get a taste for older styles of Scotch whisky from the 70s, 60s, 50s and earlier. And also there's a little trick as well, if you're careful, write it all out, do my research beforehand, check all the trade accounts, and sometimes you could buy whatever, like a bottle of Glenmorangie 10-year-old cheaper at auction than a trade account. So I was picking up stuff like that, while I was also being opportunist on antique bottles that we then, and we got a really good reputation for finding really interesting antique bottles that we would then open on the bar and put out at a very good price. And that started bringing us into the sort of orbit of the sort of European global connoisseur scene. And it's kind of accelerated from there.
Yeah, has anyone been up to it? Sorry, Chuck, you got something to say?
I was just going to say, was there a point when your parents, when they were running the hotel, they were genuinely concerned about the purchases of whiskey? Or were they like, oh, this makes perfect sense for Dornoch to have 1960s Lafroig in the bar for a reasonable price?
I think the thing is, back then, these kind of things weren't that expensive. And
So when we talk, what time frame are we talking here then?
Oh God, when we started collecting and going off to auctions and such, probably it's definitely very early 20s, circa 20s, when I probably started collecting for myself, and then early 20s I was going off and
so like 2000 and what, 3, 4 sort of thing?
That kind of ballpark.
Yeah. And now who's older? Forgive me, Phil or yourself?
Oh, I'm older.
You're older, right? So
yeah, so I'm 1984. Phil's 1986.
Right. So out of the two of you, I mean, who's got younger siblings here? Who's have you got? Right. So do you sometimes go, oh, Phil, it was me that actually got you into whiskey anyway because you copied me, you followed me into it. Is there an element of that around it with you guys? Because the fact that sometimes, I mean, I've got a brother and it's like sometimes we'll pick things that we go into together, but sometimes it's like that's your thing, that's my thing, we'll go that way on it. What about your, I mean, for the fact that two of you are so into it?
Yeah, on most things we were in our own separate directions, but there was a strong overlap on whiskey, so it's a tricky one really. I definitely got more nerdy about it early, but Phil's blessed with a better palate and sensory memory. Right. And he got really into some styles of whiskey quite early, so I wouldn't want to. I've just got this image of the two. I've got this image of the two of you sort of in your own bedrooms, just like, are you bidding on that Lafroig as well? I just be like, but because I mean, to have two of you that are so heavily involved in it, and to work together and to have come through it all together as a family businesses. Well, we still run a joint collection. So we used to collect really heavily, but then the collection sort of became more like a collection / bar stockpile.
Right.
It transitioned from being, I've got a little bit of the collector gene, which is bad, where you want to get like all the series lined up 1, 2, 3, 4, or like focus down on one distillery. But we eventually kind of transitioned that to being just legendary drinkers, certain distilleries from certain vintages, and we run a big joint collection because I'm not opening a bottle of whiskey that Phil's not going to try, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And generally, once we've had a taste, either ourselves together or with friends, with staff, then it's going to go on the bar.
And you're still buying for the collection as well. Is that carry on?
Yeah, we're still buying. We took there's a few years where we didn't buy very much because of very high auction prices, but we're buying again now. It's a good time to keep an eye on the secondary market.
Well, I think there was there was a bit of conversation on the Facebook group about buying on auctions and things like that. And funny you mentioned it. Kev mentioned from Diggers said I tend to buy most of my Glenfiddich 12s off the auction as well because I get them for a bit cheaper than you would get them for from the retail side of it. But you're right. Is it a buyer's market right now for people who are?
Yeah, it's great. If you haven't invested at peak, and you were always buying for yourself for your own personal collection enjoyment, then it's a great time because prices are great. Might get it for a few years, but yeah, if there's things you really, there's some things are still high, but there's usually a reason for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good time. There's things slip through the net. There used to be so many people looking that something awesome would go for what you'd expect it to go for, but now a lot slips through the net, and you're like, oh, I'll get that for cheap.
Yeah.
Nice.
Have you got any particular bargains that come to mind that you've had in the past? Or
There was a Longmorn 1967 that.
What was that?
Sorry, there was a Longmorn 1967
Longmorn
bottled by.
Was that the G&M
Brothers,
bottling?
was it? I know.
I can't try to remember. Was it? Oh, I think it was a Gordon MacPhail that went on the Drram thingy. And I think that Phil made a good bargain. It was like 6 months or 8 months ago,
Yeah.
for instance. And yeah, that was very good.
The absolute best recently. How many bottles are we there with? Three bottles of 1924 Glenlivet bottle, 19 maybe 1930s-ish, driven corks, bottled by I can't remember the details, a wine merchant somewhere in England, but spectacular, world-class, amazing old juice. And it just kind of flew under the radar at one of the small provincial English hammer auctions. There was 18 bottles total, all came from the same location. I managed to find out who but the first auction, 3 went up, and we bought them all. And
They're all behind the bar up at the hotel, are they?
Yeah, we did one. We opened one. That's on my birthday, and then we with some friends, and then we put it on the bar. It's no longer on the bar.
No.
So I mean, what was the drama that cost? Like, because that's one of the things that you said, which really blew my mind.
I was going to say bargain. Like, I'm confused as to what the parameters of that is. But then it was 1926 as well.
1924 Glenlivet.
1924.
3 bottles, and was it? No, there's 12 total, and I found the location of 11 out of the 12. Obviously, we have 3, but I managed to figure out who would. But they came in a later auction, so the first 3 sold really cheap, and then the rest came in a subsequent auction and kind of went for good prices. Obviously, people get a bit cagey. Sometimes people get a bit cagey because you don't know the drinking condition, but we didn't open them until after the second auction. We were bidding on the second auction as well, but we got outgunned. We got outgunned by bigger hitters than ourselves. But yeah, the first, how much did we pay for them?
No, but not how much you paid, but like, what was a dram? What was a dram costing for somebody who walked? They walked into the bar at Dornoch Castle Hotel and said, "I'll have a dram of that." What are you talking?
Do you remember? I can't remember what we put it on for.
Roughly. A couple £100 or
no? I think it was 120.
120
off the top of my head. The next one's probably going to be a bit more. Though.
£120 for a 1924 Glenlivet truck. Would you pay that?
Bottled 1930s.
I'd probably be quite drunk to do that,
Yeah.
and then wouldn't appreciate it. But I mean, to taste that, I've tasted a couple of those Glenlivets from not 1920s, but 1930s, and they're incredible, insane historical, liquid.
Yeah.
And you do take a roll of the dice with these things. We've had some ancient things we've opened which have been not drinkable. My 30th birthday, we opened a half bottle of Old Pulteney bottled 20s, maybe 30s spring cap, and the old Leith spring caps. The early ones had foil, then cork, and there's some glue in between, probably animal glue. But it just split level's perfect, just split ever so slightly, and the whole thing, had been contaminated with animal glue. So
that's not going to do it.
So that's the risk you take with these things. And we bought two big demijohns. So they were, the very last, very 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 latest they were being used was late 50s, maybe 1960, but they were used all the way through early 20th century, late 1800s. John Walker and Sons branded, ancient corks in there, good patina. They've never been opened, but we opened one, and it was Fortified Wine, almost certainly. Oh, Dan, what kind of fortified wine? Oh, brain. Anyway, it was Fortified Wine, not whiskey.
Oh, was it all right? Okay.
Yeah.
I would say, well, to look out for slightly different price point, I think, than these things, but Glenord Square. If you're on whiskey auctions and you can see a Glenord 12 in a square bottle,
I love those ones.
They go for about 45 quid to 60 quid. The corks are notoriously shit, in the politest way possible, because they're dehydrated and they just crumble to nothing. But if you get a good one, phenomenal juice, like genuinely fantastic. I think they're I think they're 80s or something. Maybe I'm wrong with that.
No, they were still doing them right through the 90s.
90s and early 2000s.
Yeah,
Was it?
Yeah, early 2000s as well.
Brilliant.
So good.
Has anyone got a question for so far? Anyone got a point on the drams? Anyone want to point out? Anyone got a wanky tasting note yet, or anything like that? What do we think of the? Yep.
Pineapple gummy bear.
Hang on. This needs a microphone. Come on, go again.
I'm getting pineapple and gummy bears on the nose
And what was that one for?
for the Thompson Brothers Vintage 2013.
So the Glen Scotia. There you
Yeah.
go. Getting that? What we getting? So
Chuck
say
agrees, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, brilliant.
I need to have some Glen Scotia.
Anyone else got any questions, or anyone want any other points? If we could pick, anyone you got a question there? No brother. 2 seconds. I feel like Kilroy. Careful. How did that make you feel?
So when you say like the old whiskies, what's the one that like turned you being like, holy shit, this is amazing? What made you guys go?
An early gateway was this would be 20 something odd years ago, 22 years ago, 23 years ago, was the Macallan 18-year-old 1970 something that we had on the bar. That was definitely a little bit of this is, I don't like to speak about Macallan these days, to be honest, because they don't want my business yet. But we're a long way off doing a Thompson Brothers Macallan.
But we are looking for sponsorship. If anyone in the Macallans, I say we love you.
There could be a Dornoch, 80-20 at some point.
Yeah, we'll bring you together. Take us up, give us a show around, put us in one of those nice fancy cars that you drive everyone around in. Give us a wee try. We can sort that. We'll have a word with them. We'll have a word with them up there, the lads. We know the boys at Dornoch quite well.
I think it was. We were in Speyside with some friends, turning around, and Phil said, "Oh, you need to go check out the new Macallan distillery." It's like, they don't really want my business. And then he phoned to go up, and because he hadn't booked, you can't even go into the shop.
Oh, really?
Like, I can't even cross the threshold here.
There you go.
It's like, yeah.
Well, anyway,
one day,
we're gonna stop for a wee break. We're gonna let Angus and Chuck go around and recharge your glasses. If you've still got, don't rush it through, guys. But we've got time. There should be some water there. If you need any more water, I think rinse your glasses out and we'll have you. But listen, it's been great fun. I hope that's 2 drams down. We've got another 4 to go. It's a cracking lineup tonight. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Cheers. Right, okay, everyone ready to rock and roll? Right, I guess you know what to do. Clap us back in. Welcome back to the Whisky Stories podcast, Indie Bottle Spotlight with the Thompson Brothers! Yay! And we've got more drams! Yay! Brilliant, fantastic. Right, Simon, what have we got next?
Right, so next up we've got a North British 33-year-old, a scary natural strength of 40.1% ABV.
40.1% is a very scary.
So one of our big advantages in being full process, having our own warehouses, bonded transportation, all that stuff, is that we can move really, really quickly if we want to, which means we can sweep up these kind of danger stocks. A lot of other companies wouldn't touch this because it's too risky, and the timelines involved that might drop below 40%, or you'll have to find another cask of the same vintage or similar vintage to blend it together to up strength it. So for us, we can take advantage of all kinds of odds and sods and danger stock, and I really like low naturally low cask strength liquid, because it becomes more condensed, because it's been losing alcohol, but everything else is becoming more compressed and more condensed. And the flip side of this as well is that it's cheaper for us. And the other side of that is that we can then bottle that, get it out to market, so that your importers, retailers, everyone can make a margin, and it can be a really good price for the customer at the end. So this is 65 quid, 33-year-old, North British. And we've called it an Edinburgh Dram. We've used, I've doing a little series of these Edinburgh labels as well, because we've got a book of all these old, all these old maps of Edinburgh, and they make great labels. So we're doing that, and so Royal Malt Whiskies has taken the majority of this, and 65 quid a bottle.
Can't argue with that. Like 33-year-old whiskey.
What's not to love?
I take it when this cask came into your ownership, it didn't pass go. It literally, the first time you opened the bung was to fill it into bottles. I take it because given the strength that it's at, you didn't want to take any risks, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It moves quickly into glass. We can have things moved to us, labels printed into the warehouse, ready for bottling super quickly. I think the absolute record we've got of paying for a cask to having it in glass and on our website for sale is 2 weeks, which was yes, literally drove down, picked it up ourselves, drove it back. That was more because it was a super expensive cask and we were short on cash, so it's like, right, we need to turn this around quickly. That was a 34-year-old Jura, but it was at Invergordon.
Oh, that's a great drop. I was going to say that Japanese guy's really working for those casks in Dornoch. It's like a week to do a label for it.
We've got another cast ready, but we need the picture now.
So
get the easel out. I'm trying.
So full process allows you to do that, and because it was danger stock, we got a really good price for it, and turned it around quickly and put it out for a good price for the customer. Everyone's happy. What's not to love?
Now, actually, with danger stock, that comes at a risk. Have you had any close calls or?
I've had one close call, not going under strength till where it technically legally no longer becomes whiskey at sub 40%. One of the very old components of the Mystery Malt was, last time it was regauged, it was 49 something. By the time it came to bottling, it was like bang on, because all the Mystery Malts are bottled at 48.5, so this is 20 something year old. I can't remember which specific distillery, and it was just touching that. You've got a legal tolerance of plus or minus 0.3% ABV. Okay. So it was within legal tolerance, but it was
on the edge, right?
It was dangerous.
Couple of things here, right? First of all, do you see a difference with a dram like this, that you're bottling at natural strength, albeit the natural strength is down at 40% versus adding water to bring a whiskey down to a percentage?
Yeah, absolutely. So the dram, the flavors become more compressed and intense, but also as the cask loses more volume, whether that's water, alcohol, in whatever proportion, you get more and more headspace within that cask, so you get more and more oxidative aging. So we did a really good Fetter Cairn from a leaky cask a few years ago that had a huge headspace, and it was just so very good. So that big extra amount of headspace speeds up oxidative aging, also speeds up losses. But sometimes you can get an amazing dram from a leaky cask.
Right, okay, fantastic. And my second question is, now, this is where I'm going to sound a little bit more technical than I should. What does OLA and RLA mean?
Okay, so OLA is your original litres of alcohol. So Dan's done some distilling. He's made new make spirit. That is original litres of alcohol. Day one as it comes off the still, or as it goes into day one in a cask. That's the original litres of alcohol. RLA, regauged litres of alcohol. That is the number of litres of alcohol in the future. So some companies, some of the big companies might sell semi-mature stock on OLA, so it might be 5, 6, 7 years old, and because they don't want to regauge every cask, they're selling it on OLA, and you're kind of buying it because on average what the losses should be.
Well, because you mentioned about buying this cask, or it was a lot. you got a good price on it, because now for people who maybe don't know, it was something that I got. I can't remember who it was that mentioned it on one of the Indie Bottle Spotlights or an episode that we did. Is you buy the cask. The price of the cask is priced on just the litres of alcohol, isn't it?
It can be both. So it can either be based on regauged litres of alcohol. So you'd be looking for, at least a fairly recent regauge, so you know exactly what's in that cask. But big companies, like I said, will sell on original litres of alcohol.
Yeah.
So we filled 225 litres at 63.5% into this cask 7 years ago. We're not selling you 1, we're selling you 20. It's probably all going to be fine. And
yeah, but because just when you're pricing it up though, so when someone's buying a cask, when you guys are looking at buying a cask, you're buying a cask that will say it's X amount per litre of alcohol, or per OLA or RLA or something like that.
Yeah.
So you get the price and then RLA beside it or OLA beside it.
Yeah.
And then what you've got to work out is then, well, if it's 63% and there's 250 litres, 63% of that is what you're paying for. The rest is just water, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
but you're paying for the so a litre of alcohol is an impossible and theoretical. 1 litre of 100% ABV liquid, which is impossible to achieve, but it's kind of like an accounting metric for whiskey.
So when you're saying this cask was sitting at 40.1, it would mean that, if they're selling it on that percent, if it's RLA or OLA,
Very recent.
you get a decent
ABV regauge check.
Yeah, so you're being regauge checks.
Yeah.
You're getting RLA on that. You're getting a good price because it's at 40% as well.
So someone's checked it and it was very low, and they've gone, "Oh crap, we really need to do something with this immediately."
Stick it in the freezer.
Who do we? And who do we know who can move stuff quickly?
Yeah,
So-
brilliant. Well, what do you think of this one? Yeah, great.
Absolutely brilliant.
Tasting notes. Anyone got any tasting notes? Anyone wants to throw out there? Angus, you got any?
Oh, you put me on this. It's got that kind of. I always say it. Almost always say it. It's got that kind of creme brulee nose with grain whiskey, old grain whiskey.
Yeah.
You've got a wee bit of that kind of
got
sweet
one of them.
vanilla. Yeah.
Carry on, Angus.
Go on. Yeah. Well.
Right. Give us one.
Okay, I've got a wanky tasting note. It's like an iced gem.
A nice gem.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Bit of
mint.
frosting, bit of biscuit.
What's it on? Just a general ice gem straight in the packet.
Aye, at the packet. Aye.
There we go.
And you get that plastic smell as well.
You get a
No, I'm
colour. You
joking.
get a colour of that.
Which colour?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for the blue one because you've got a blue bucket hat on.
There we go. There we go. That's the first time I've ever been included in a wanky tasting note. There we go. Well, you can stick that on the bottle there. Ice gem.
Yeah,
Blue
so-
ice gem.
I was checking for official tasting notes, and they're not up yet because this is for sale at Royal Mile Whiskies and the Whisky Fringe just now. But I think we've held off on selling it until they've had a good stab at it for the Fringe. So we've not done our own tasting notes for it yet.
There you go.
Normally they're on my back of house.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes I try and do some notes for these things, and I've used none of them so far. We've just rambled our way through. But yeah, North British. A fun little thing about that was it was founded as a consortium of independent blenders to break the monopoly of DCL on grain whiskey, and of course, who owns it now? Diageo.
Are you okay? Are you okay with them?
Yeah, no, we
that's
love
fine.
we love Diageo these
Right.
days. But DCL ultimately merged with UDV, Guinness became Diageo, and 50% owned by Diageo, 50% owned by Edrington. So they got their own way in the end. That monopoly breaking spirit factory is now partly
Part
owned
of
by
it.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, although I've heard some murmurings, but you never know if it's just these things being considered that it's on some pretty valuable land, the North British site. The logistics of having a big distillery in the middle of a city is not ideal, and I've heard little murmurings, and you do have to wonder if someone's doing the calculations.
Yeah. Well, it's a heritage.
Well,
I mean, it's played a big part in our podcast.
It
Angus.
has, and I would be very sad because I love that drive on the Western Approach Road, and you can almost put your window down as you're driving, and you just get a whiff of distilling happening right there.
I don't think you need to put your window down.
No, but you get it even more if you put
Well,
your
I guess
window down. Chuck.
Angus means he takes the soft top down when he's driving along.
Take the soft top down.
It's convertible Ford Volkswagen Polo. That's but it's. I mean, for us, North British, you know, our spiritual home for the podcast is the Diggers.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a stone's throw away. It's the closest distillery, but also for me in particular, and for there'll be plenty of other people who maybe be similar, but you know, you grow up with Whisky Perceptions, and one of the perceptions you often grow up with is that grains aren't any good. They're just used to bulk out blends and this, that, and next thing. And one of the great things is from doing this podcast is we've been so lucky to try some exceptional whiskey, but
from all over.
Yeah,
I mean,
grain
lots
whiskey.
of other, you know, Invergordons and Cameron Briggs. And,
but even Mark Davidson, Jolly Topper, I think he talked about when he was when he worked at Cadden Heads, he used to do tastings for the Edinburgh International School for Language, which was directly across the road, I think it was, in that area down at the bottom of the Mile. And he said that what would often happen is he was brought in, you're getting a load of students who are coming in to study that are from all over the world, and he said that he's got a thing, it's like start with the grain and go through the finish with a smoky one sort of thing, get a bourbon in there, a sherry, just build them up. And he said that 9 times out of 10, for the average general person who'd never really drank a Drram before, trying something that they didn't even know what they were really drinking, you know, what was their favourite? And it said the majority of people would always put their hand up, Drram number 1, the grain whiskey, just because the flavour that you get of well-aged grain out of that. Is there casks, what cask type was it, or anything like that?
It'll just be refill, so it's not got a huge amount of influence, but it makes up for it with time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's we love grain, and grain with a good amount of age that takes the edge off it. It's just, yeah, you know, daily easy dramming. You don't have to think about it too much. You set a bottle on the table with a bunch of friends. You're not getting in deep with it, but you know, great flavours, smooth, easy drinking. You know, as part of a social activity, superb.
Well, last night we actually had a little discussion on the next week's podcast. Was listener and member of the Facebook
future
group.
We had a discussion.
Yeah, we had a few. We're going to have a discussion on the podcast next week. But basically, Mark Hughes, who listens to the podcast and regularly posts on the Facebook group, he asked a question. He sent us an email in and asked. He's off to Egypt for the summer holidays, and it's going to be about 40 to 45 degrees. So he was asking, what whiskey do you take with you? And he was wondering, and we completely bypassed grain in our conversation.
We did, yeah.
And I would say that sometimes you actually couldn't probably go wrong with a nice, easy-going.
Yeah, grain would be perfect, or in that kind of temperature, you want highballs.
Yeah, well, that was
what I said.
Yeah, highballs on ice.
Yeah.
There you go. But there you go. Right, so on to Drram number 2 then, our second Drram.
Before we move on, since you guys are natives to North British, is what blends does this make up the main constituent of? You got Diageo and you got Edrington, so.
I mean, historically it must be famous grouse that would have played a big part. I would have assumed, and presumably Johnny Walker as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, those as well. And what else have we got? Also main
Bells, was it in Bells as well?
Oh, it's not my little quick list here, but I got J&B and Cutty Sark as well.
Oh, right, yeah, good.
Cool.
But yeah, I like North British. Although up by us, I've got a bias for Invergordon just because of
course,
proximity, and they let us use their cooperage, which is nice as well.
There you go. Handy when you've got cooperage on site as well, or near site as well.
Yeah, they'll do us dechar rechars. So
super.
Yeah, it's a great way of doing it.
A cracking Drram, and and we've had. Have you got anyone else with a tasting note, or anyone else got a question for Simon or Dan? No, all good. What about one for Angus? Anyone got a question for Angus? Nah. Right, okay, on to Drram number 2 then. Or number 4, technically, sorry. Oh, wait, Chuck's got a wacky tasting note. Right. And in fact, actually, I should say, for people who maybe don't recall, Chuck is the reason wanky tasting notes exist, was basically... So years and years ago, Chuck Angus and I actually went to school, but we didn't go to school together.
Graham and I went to school together.
Angus and I would hold hands to school, but Chuck wasn't invited to that. But no, but we were all at the
Chuck
same.
was there in the background somewhere.
But Chuck was a couple of years, or was it a couple of years below us at school?
I mean, I was in the same year as your brother. So
Yeah, you're the same year as my brother, a couple of years
my
below.
sister.
But basically,
sister, yeah.
I didn't really know Chuck. I didn't know Chuck real at all, and then I didn't realise that Chuck was working at Scotch.
I did, 'cause
You
he used
did.
to get the train with me.
Yeah,
so.
but Chuck was working at Scotch and what have you, and then gone away. He's travelled around the world, and then he's become. And there was one night we were at a tasting, and he gets really annoyed about this. And we didn't know Chuck was at the other side of the room, but Angus and I are at one side of the room, and anyone got a tasting note, and this guy's put his hand up, and I think you said, cola cubes on church pews.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
No one said at all.
What? Well, yeah, but
That's how I remember
To
it.
be fair, it was, regardless of how much I defend it, it was incredibly wanky. Like,
but we couldn't see who it was, right? And Angus and I
Graham and I
just literally gone, for fuck's sake.
Looked at each other and rolled our eyes.
Who said that? Right? And then it turns out it was Chuck, and then now he's here. So you are the original.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
So give us this one then.
I was gonna say pencil shavings and birthday cake. Like,
Now you've got someone who's actually buying it. You're buying it. Pencil shavings and birthday cake.
And if I want to be really wanky about it, well-aged pencil shavings. like when you were in school.
Not yesterday's pencil shavings.
When you're in school and you just sharpen your pencil into your pencil case and leave it for weeks and weeks. Yeah.
100%.
There we go.
Birthday cake with like tons of sprinkles on top.
The tasting notes haven't been written for this, so we've had. And I don't think we'll be allowed to go on. We don't.
We'll take notes. We'll take notes.
I work for commission or free bottles, effectively.
Or a cask. If he's giving you a tasting notes.
You've got to do a lot to get a cask.
Right, so on to dram number 2 then. What have we got here then?
Dram number 2.
4,
Sorry,
number
dram number 4. So we've got a cask sample of Dornoch here. So I charged Dan with going to grab something. I do like going rummaging for casks, and I was quite surprised this is what he went for, because I really, really like these, but I knew that they would need a very, very long time. So I got a whole bunch of very old Solera woods casks from Bodegas Robles in Montilla, who at the time were the only organic producer of Pedro Jimenez Oloroso in Spain. I don't know if they still are, but it's a very old bodega. So we got a bunch of casks from 40s, 50s, 60s, and this is one of these XPX cask. It was still used in their system until I think we bought like 15, 17 of them. And these were my time machines. I was intending on laying these down for a very, very long time period.
But Dan picked one out for tonight.
yeah, Dan picked one out.
But these, I mean, when you describe that though, I mean, it's about, we talk about sherry seasoned casks. This is about as seasoned as a sherry cask could get, right?
The wood has very next to nothing to give. It's the wood's ancient. So the idea was to emulate the old style transport casks, where these old kind of dead casks would be used to transport sherries and other kind of fortified wines from the continent to the UK, which would then get used by the sort of precursors to independent bottlers, the old Italian warehousemen and blenders. Would use them for whiskey, and like, oh, this works. So it's kind of we're trying to emulate the old style by using the old Solera casks. We're trying to emulate the old style of transport casks that you used to find. So as such, the woods had like next to no influence on this, and it's just meant to be like a vessel for a bit of influence of the PX, plus long, slow oxidative aging. But it's looking really delicious.
That's tasty.
Already.
And from a point of view, is there anyone here who from Leith themselves? Leithers? Yeah, Leithers.
Couple of hands. Yeah.
So. All right. Well, we've got a disputed claim already. In the YLT, right? So basically, whilst many Leithers will say the Edinburgh whiskey is nice whiskey from the city of Edinburgh up the road, because many people would say Leith isn't part of Edinburgh, but this actually, from your point, where we're actually sitting right now tonight, Constitution Street played a big part in that. With the Patterson brothers had bonded warehouses along this street here, and cooperages and stuff like that, offices where people were rolling casks like the casks that you're talking about off ships into Leith that were then getting transported over the country, but also through Edinburgh and into blenders and stuff like that as well.
Yep. So that was the idea, was a bit of a nod to these old styles, and was to lay down something that's going to be bottled 15, 20, God knows how long. So it's nice to have a peek at these now and to sit down and enjoy it.
And was this made by the man beside you then? Was he part of the distillation? No,
I wasn't there.
This is before you.
Yes, way before.
Yeah, this would have been because it's quite large. It takes us a few batches to fill it, quite a few batches to fill a butt because we're so small.
Yeah.
This would have been me and Jacob, who's now at US Distillery.
Oh right.
We would have both worked on this. So most of the yeast variety in this would have been. This is when we started using spent brewers yeast from local breweries, style R. So
you're using Cromities.
Yeah, this will be when we're first starting to use spent brewers yeast from Cromity Brewery, which is local to us. One of his core yeast that he uses in his beers is actually an old Scottish brewing strain, which used at a good chunk of breweries in the 50s and 60s, which is a nice tie-in as well. And there's also some fun stuff with spent brewers yeast as well. The yield goes way down relative to modern distillers yeast, but there's a whole range of flavours that you can achieve from brewing yeast. The family tree for distilling yeasts is quite short and stumpy, and it's not got that variation in flavour yet that you can find in the brewing world, but you do get the yield with the distilling strain. So Dornoch Distillery's never used distilling strains of yeast. It's only used brewing strains of yeast, preferably in these days mostly spent brewers yeast. In the early days we tried out lots and lots of different strains propagated in-house. So and then barley varieties, this was kind of a transition between two older strains. So you had Plumage Archer, developed in the early 20th century, and Mars Otter from which was 60s, give or take. And
fascinating for you, like you've been involved, like you and your brother have been involved in probably every step of the way through. Even, I remember you guys explaining to us about, where was he from? The lorry driver that brought your washbacks in.
Maybe Slovenia.
Slovenia or something like that. He just said, I'll just hang around for a wee while whilst you were getting them all built and stuff. Yeah. But you, from even the building and the modular part of the distillery to distilling yourselves. So from your point of view,
I think you could probably fit about 2 Dornoch distilleries in this room that we're in now.
Yeah, like I say, if you don't realise,
seriously. So we had the pleasure of going up there.
But but you've seen it. Like, so how hard is it to start something and be involved, and then as the business grows, and as the Thompson Brothers grows, as Dornoch Distillery grows, and things like that, to be able to hand it over, to be able to take a step back, because it is a hands-on process making whiskey.
Yes.
But at the same time, and so how you like to make it. So you've got the guy Dan beside you, who's is he? I'll ask Dan this actually. Dan, is he tricky at times when he comes in, or does he let you get on with it?
Getting on with what? Sorry.
With making whiskey.
Oh yeah, I would ask if I can do something. For instance, just as an example, the bub. So that's all practice you could find. So I heard about it from a liquid antiquarian with Arthur and Dave Broom about the bub making, who's a very old practice, and they could source it from a very old book from probably early 20th century. And that's something I did after discussing with Phil and Simon, just because I did find that very interesting. It's like a starter for fermentation. Like you would use it if you have a stug fermentation. You could use a bub to
what? Sorry, so what?
Bub, B-U-B.
A bub?
Yeah, so you just use, so
what is that?
It would be a mix of yeast and pot ale, so backsetting, just to bring to lower the pH, and it can bring some more flavors. And it was an old practice, I think, that even in Scotland, in some distilleries, it may have been used until the 60s.
Do you not have to mix some worts in there for the sugars as well?
Wort, so wort, pot ale, and yeast, and I'm doing that, and I'm just waiting to use it because I just find that quite interesting.
Did you say it was kind of like a sourdough starter kind of thing, right?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So for yourself, Simon, it's, as we've mentioned, it's hard enough sometimes working with your brother on certain things where you're saying, like, you know, it's, you want to go one direction at making decisions, but when the distilleries, how many people do you have staff? Is the staff overall everybody? Thompson Brothers, Dornoch Distillery and Dornoch Castle, or do you have specifically Dornoch Castle staff, they're working in the hotel, and then we have Dornoch Distillery staff, and we have Thompson Brothers doing things, or is it a sort of mix and match?
There's a good bit of overlap. So like in the in the winter to keep hotel staff busy, we do projects at Thompson Brothers. For example, when we did Drams from Afar, where we were doing basically sampling up old bottles from the bar, selling them online. That was something to keep people busy during the winter when business drops off. So there's quite a bit of overlap, and in the kind of shoulder seasons when it's just picking up or just dying down, we get hotel staff in to help with bottling and various other things. The production guys are more focused on production, but they'll also jump in and help with bottling, packing, whatever needs done, but majority focused production. But for me, I'm pretty easy going with it as long as I know people are coming from the right place. So when someone's working in the distillery, as long as it fits within my window of what I consider to be whiskey in the older style, there's a lot of autonomy there, and I like to see people. Number two.
It's a second dram gone.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like to see people have their own fingerprints on it. So I don't want someone to be second guessing themselves when they've got a decision to make and to go, what would Simon want me to do? I want them to make the best decision with the information, the liquid and the flavours that are in front of them. And I'm okay with having that variation in production where whoever's in charge of that production, where their personality shows through in it, and I've noticed this with guys who've worked with us over the years. Those different personalities do show through in the liquid style, and I'm totally okay with that. They're all playing.
So you're happy for people to have their stamp on it and let it go.
Yeah. That's great. You can sample a dram and go, oh, that's a Dan dram.
Honestly,
why that face though?
Yeah. Honestly, looking back, there is I can tell the difference between my production, Jacob's production, Phil's production, Ewan's production. A lot of that's down to because we make manual cut points every time. We make the cut points in the spirit by sense of smell, sense of taste. You can see people's personality show through on that as well. And for me, it's that person's making the best decision, or what they think is the best decision with the liquid in front of them. And people have different personalities, and tuning your cut points as well can kind of tune towards. I tend to always go quite deeper into the front end, which will give something that will show a lot better at a much older age, but won't necessarily look so good at a younger age. Whereas Ewan tended to be a bit more conservative, and his stuff tends to present better at a younger age, but it might not. We'll see. Time will tell. Who was right, but I like to see people's personality come through on it, and it's just make the best decision yourself. Don't try and second guess what someone else thinks is best.
Well, like your spirit safe, if you can. There's no spirit safe. But what would be your spirit safe, as we saw, is like this sort of half-cut pipe that runs into a steel bucket type thing. And Dan was just regularly. I mean, it's not hooked up to the computer or anything like that, Dan, is it? So it's just literally what was happening is we were standing in the distillery on a Saturday morning, slightly hungover, all trying to fit in, and we were all trying to squeeze into this distillery. Chuck's got a camera that he's trying to show, and we're trying to go through it all. And whilst we were standing there, every 5 or 6 minutes, Dan's kind of squeezing past, going, excuse me, and then just like taking this other smaller steel container, holding it down and just giving it a wee sniff, passing it on to you, passing it on to Phil, and then running it, and just spitting it on the floor, going, I need another couple of minutes to do that.
He was drinking it and then spitting it, and then it got passed round us, and we were all kind of chatting away, and I was like, oh, what do I do with this? So I just sniffed it. I was like, I don't want to necessarily taste it, unless it's like something I can't actually, because then I was like, oh no, I don't want to spit it out on camera, because I'll probably get it all down my shirt. So I was like, I'll just sniff it and then pass it on to Chuck.
But I mean, that element of, that there's something what you've mentioned and you've talked about is stripping it all back and really going down the traditional methods of distilling and making whiskey. And you either mentioned about like the yeast varieties and the barley varieties and things like that you're using. But yeah, we've been to distilleries, we've been to Struie, where you see the computers that they've got, and you see how what they've done is they've managed to find the mix of serious automation and technology in with the modern facility. But it's all hands-on for you guys.
Yeah, in Struie, best performing energy consumption of a thermal vapor recompression system I've seen in a distillery.
Wow. I'd love to do a distillery tour with you, Simon.
Great distillery. I'd love to, with the hammer mill and the mash press filter. I'd a little still. Yes. Well, I don't know if I'd use the Loman still, but the I'd love to have a little play around there, just for fun, just for very different style production, which is a little side project that we do, where we go to some other distilleries and do production.
Oh, so you get involved, roll the sleeves up, and actually get involved.
Working directly with the other production team, and we kind of work with them to try and find a midpoint between the kind of things that we do and what they do, and we've had a bit of fun with that. It's also part of the Struie project as well.
Well, this is what I was going to ask. So it must very much be kind of R&D for you, because last time when we were speaking to you up at Dornoch, it was the start of your crowdfunder.
Oh yes,
for Struie, which you absolutely smashed.
Right about the time our podcast went out, actually, I'd say.
I think so. I think so. I think you've still not got the commission. I've still not got the check for the commission. What was it we said? I mean, so I mean, just so what were your kind of goals with that, and then what did you actually end up raising? Because it was over 2 million, wasn't it, that you raised through the crowdfunder?
We did quite well. So in total for Struie, we've raised about 4, and then we've also got a fairly chunky grant that we couldn't talk about at the time. But we've got a really chunky grant directly tied to our energy systems, and if you want someone to actually fall asleep in the room, we could talk.
We've had that before.
No, but what I was going to say, it has happened before. Yeah, but with Struie, when we were up there, you said we can get the shovel in the ground tomorrow. Yeah. So, it kind of early update of what's happening at Struie. Are the builders in? Is it?
So right now we're at the tail end of the tendering process, which when you go out to your main contractor.
Yeah.
So we had a couple of them ask for extensions, which we've granted. By the time we get to the end of the tendering process, we've currently got 6 main contractors in the mix. Tendering, it's going to be getting deep into October, which means possible site mobilisation is possible late October into November, but then you're in crappy weather time, and that's kind of going to be a discussion between whether they're happy to get stuck in and what the weather thinks it's going to do.
Or whether you wait till spring.
It's not an ideal to make a start on your foundations and access roads and things.
But it's all systems go then, because I think the discussion we were having before the podcast episode went out, and as we were recording it, I think you were talking about, there was an element where I think there was an understanding that this could go as well as you wanted it to go, but at the same time, I think was one of the discussions that you were saying was, if it doesn't go as to plan as we have it in the plan, was it not the site was going to be used for bonded warehouses that you were going to have?
Well, the site's going to get if we didn't raise enough money, then it would have to start being a phased approach, which would mean, so currently Thompson Brothers is bottlenecking with its existing bottling, warehousing, logistics capacity. So the no-brainer would be to immediately put the new warehouses up, and then to accelerate the Thompson Brothers blending side of the business. If you just weren't quite there, was to kind of go further into that, slow down the main build. But there's also other things that you could theoretically phase in. For example, there's a visitor centre shop tasting room, which is a conversion of an old building. So you could drop that down a year down the line. That would save a big chunk off the front end. But right now it's all systems go. Since you were last up, maybe the borehole was in when you were up.
It was.
Three-phase transformer got delivered. But yeah, so there's all these bits and pieces that you can do, but the main work's not going to happen until your main contractor is on site.
So by sort of January, February 2026, you'll be looking at starting to see hopefully some sort of work that
depends on the weather and the appetite to get stuck into in the winter. I'm very keen just to show something happening. To get that first bit of access road and foundations done, and then when the foundations are done, the warehouses have got pretty quickly. They're going up first regardless, because we can utilise them straight away, remove our bottlenecks on Thompson Brothers. We've already got a new new fully automated bottling line as well. I seen it's second hand, and we didn't pay money for it. We traded.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so a good friend of ours was.
I'll give you 4 casks for your bottling line type thing, eh?
So we don't really let anyone have Dornoch for anything, and they had a bottling line fully automated, brand new, is about 240k. And they wanted some casks of Dornoch, and I was like, okay.
Well, when it needs to work, it needs to work, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was.
So that's either painting a nice picture for your labels or having an fully automated bottling line. What you're basically saying.
I also like that Thompson Brothers has bottlenecks as well. That's a very appropriate problem for an independent bottler to have.
What are we thinking so far about these drams, guys? Everyone all right? Did you actually get a chance to drink your drams at that table there? Did you just drop them on the floor?
Don't worry, they're smashable.
Good, very smashable. Yeah, very good.
I don't know if I missed what the ABV and age of the Dornoch sample was.
So it's this 29. What's the date today?
Hi.
It's the 8th of August.
8th of August.
5 years old.
So it's Tuesday.
August.
No, it's Tuesday because it's 12th of August on that.
Sorry, we're just a few days away from it turning 6. So
it'll turn 6 on Tuesday.
What's the ABV on it?
58% ABV.
58%. Lovely, brilliant. Wow. And out of those two guys, what we thinking if you were to pick one of those two? Dornoch.
I think that's unanimous. Yeah.
So that's it. Yeah. So basically, we've got an next dram now. The thing is, for the next 2 drams, okay, we have. As you'll see, there is a Mystery Malt. Woo! There you go. That was really, really good. But tonight, we are going to give you 2 options. This is the Matrix red pill, blue pill situation. Do you want Mystery Malt A or Mystery Malt B? We don't know what they are. We're all going to find out at the same time. So when we're walking round, it's going to be, I'm going to take A or B. A or B. That's what you're getting. And listen, you get what you get. Okay.
So we've got one bottle from series. Yeah.
Sorry. Right. Yeah. We've got. Right, guys. So what we've got is we've got one
bottle from series 1 and 1 bottle from series 2. So they can't be the same.
So you're not going to get a double.
Well, they could be they might be the same. Yeah. So when
listen, we'll explain it if it goes wrong, okay? We've got a question at the back.
I was just going to say, is it a mystery to absolutely everybody in the room?
Yes, a mystery to us all. But there we go. So we'll take a quick break.
So it's not opened yet. So
yeah.
I literally have no idea what this is.
So that's it. Right, okay, we'll stop for a wee break. We'll get ourselves our glasses packed up. Brilliant. Everyone got drams and everyone got their drams at their one. Okay, Angus, you know what to do. Clap us back in. Welcome along to the Whisky Stories Spotlight, Indie Bottle Spotlight with the Thompson Brothers! Right, we've got 2 more drams to go.
Yeah. So we're doing the 18-year-old Highland first.
Yes, that's the one we're going for. 18-year-old Highland.
Everyone will be itching to find out the last one, though. But yeah, this is a mystery as well. I know exactly what this is, but I'm onto a really good thing with the quality of liquid for the price, and I just can't say what it is. If you look very closely at the back label, there's enough of a, maybe a clever person could figure out.
Well, you're asking the wrong guy here. What am I looking at? Oh, right, okay.
Don't say it out loud.
So yeah, a very interesting dram there. Is there any?
It's just it's a company that we used to not be able to buy direct from. We now can.
It's my favourite brand of brown sauce.
Absolutely.
in one.
And they've changed the geographical indicators. So you used to be able to be a little bit more specific with the geography, but now you can't. But I'm able to get it for such a good price for that quality of liquid at that age, and we can put this out for 65 quid a bottle. It's absolutely cracking. So happy we can do that. So I definitely can't say who it's from because I don't want to annoy them.
No, absolutely not.
But the thing is, it's an interesting point what you make there, Simon, because so many people, like what you've just said there, is the fact that you can buy their liquid, this liquid that we're trying, from this particular distillery. But what you're saying is that you can buy it and put it out at the price that you're putting it out at, whereas so many other people.
Well, we're a very slick operation.
Yeah, but what yes. But what you're saying is like there's other people like you're not interested in having the name particularly on the front of the bottle. But what you would like is the fact that it's good liquid that you're putting out, and because you can put this liquid at this age out at the price that you're putting it out at, because you're not having to put that name on the bottle, means that you can do that.
Yes.
But that's the other bottlers that say, no, that's no good to us. Or there'll be other whiskey drinkers as well that might say it's no good if it's a secret Highland or it's a Highland that I don't know where it's from because I want to know the distillery. Whether or not we can allude to what distillery it is or what people know what distillery it is, if it's just good liquid and good whiskey, then that's what it's all about at a very good price.
We can make that work. Yeah, it's just quality of liquid to price ratio. If you're from the same distillery, if you're to buy the official bottle 18-year-old, which is slightly lower ABV, it's RRP 140. So
140 quid.
Yeah, so I absolutely cannot say what the name is.
What?
I will not say.
You didn't say it.
You can say what it's not.
You can say what it's not. Aye.
Well.
Aye. Right. Anyway.
But anyway, yeah. I'm just.
Let's move on.
I've got good access. I love the distillery. I'm so happy I can buy this at this price and put it out to customers at this price. The cost is you can't say what it is because they're official bottlings, in beautiful presentation and excellent quality control. Is significantly more expensive, so I'm absolutely happy with what we're going on.
So we're drinking what I was going to say is yours is a beautiful presentation too, because you've got a lovely, great label on the front as well. It's a kind of porridge oats type
standard
isn't it?
Standard tall round. That's, we like our standard tall rounds. Keeps everything. If you've got custom glass involved like that, then everything takes a bit longer and
costs a bit more.
Well, it's more the choke points. It's like, okay, I need some more. Okay, that's going to be 4 months.
Yeah, because you've got we've had George and Rachel from Fragrant Drops on, and things like their glass ball stopper that they put into the top of their bottle. It's like sourcing that, and how many can you buy, and how many do you have to buy to be able to get it at a good enough price to bring it over, and stuff like that. So when you're buying, I mean, this is where it gets really exciting when we start talking about dry goods storage and stuff like that, right?
Well, let's do it. Let's go there.
Because you've already talked about the challenges that you have and a bottleneck and stuff like that you have with regards to your bottling plant and your storage facilities, because it's small, right? Yeah. So every inch, nook and cranny needs to be filled with something that's good for that space. So what do you do when it comes to, like, where do you store, how many, if you're putting 57,000 bottles out in a year, where are you storing your bottles? Because you can't just put an order in and they arrive and then you fill them and then they send them out.
Well, this is the beauty of the standard tall round. They're always available. So multiple companies as well make the exact same design. This is just an industry standard. It's always there, always available, except for that time, like, when was it, the glass shortage of 2022?
Oh, the great glass shortage of 2022. Remember that? Oh.
Yeah, one of the glass factories went on fire, so you lost production from one of the big UK glass factories. Really? Our one.
Yeah. And I had asthma. It just went absolutely ham in the glass factory, was it? It just blew the whole thing up.
I don't know what happened, but we were quite late in finding out about this, and then everyone else is already scurrying off trying to find alternate sources.
So then everyone else's sources start thinking,
I had to find that. There's bottles of BSW and SRV5 with a special sticker on top which says like. They're in different types of glass, and they're like the sticker says special 2022 glass shortage edition. we're veering off track a little bit.
No, but I was also going to say a couple of people in the audience have been contributing to the glass shortage tonight.
But yeah, because I mean these are the things. That's what we love about doing the Indie Bottler Spotlight. You know, it was actually a year ago in August we did our first one, and it was with Woody and Megan Woodrow's of Edinburgh, and yeah, and you know, it gives us an insight into the fact that we get to try these great whiskies that independent bottlers put out. And you've mentioned that it's a buyer's market right now for people on the auctions, but I would say it's, you know, as a consumer, it's just a great time. There's new distilleries popping up. We've mentioned in Struie that we did our distillery spotlight for. So many new distilleries popping up that we, as consumers, we can get to enjoy. But also the indie bottler scene is just thriving at the moment. But there's so much that goes on. It's not just a simple case of buy that cask and just stick it in the bottles and put it out. There's, you know, first of all, sourcing good casks. Because there'll be plenty of times, you've mentioned already, but you buy a cask and maybe you don't get a chance to try it before you buy it. You've bought it, it's arrived, you go, well, that's no good to us at this moment in time.
Yeah, if you're buying from the big boys, you buy a lot and you buy blind at, you know, intermediate ages, and you just got to figure out what to do with them when they arrive. You know, luckily you can make judgments of certain distilleries from certain time periods, certain cask types, and you got a pretty good idea as to the quality. But sometimes you just got to go, yeah, this just needs more time, or we need to recask this. But that's, you know, advantage of being full process. You just do it when it arrives. There's no big time lag of waiting for samples, sending instructions. But yeah, it's a good time to be a whiskey enthusiast. You know, with the global economic situation not doing amazing, China not kicking off as well as people thought, South America not kicking off as well as whiskey industry thought. It means you're starting to see some like overaging happen, which is when, you know, we intended this to be an 8-year-old for this product, but now it's turned 9, now it's turned 10 because we didn't sell enough of the 8-year-old, which means that even the base blends start using older and older stock. And the average quality of that at the base starts going up. The prices of older stock starts coming down a bit. We're starting to see that trickle through the system a bit. You'll see maybe a bit of a flush out and some more motivated sellers and some really good pricing in coming years. And starting to see a bit of, you know, your like base 8, 10, 12 stuff's not really shifting too much. You know, it seems expensive now compared to 10 years ago. But in line with inflation, the price of a standard 10-year-old malt from a lot of distilleries is pretty much where it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Yeah, they don't shift around that much. A few distilleries try to like reach for the premiumization thing, but on that, you know, for a lot of things like Lafroig 10 or, you know, what was a Morangy 10 now, Morangy 12, they're kind of in line with inflation, give or take. They don't shift that much.
And when you look at like that you mentioned with this one, you know, the relationships are so key when it comes to bottlers to get your access to stock. I think Peter from Woven talked about, you know, if you work in sales or anything like that, the dreaded gatekeeper. You always hear about having to get through the gatekeeper to get to. But he said actually the gatekeepers in the Scotch whisky industry are some of the nicest people you ever meet. However, there's always a protection of whisky, you know, and everyone has to protect their brand. And we had Stephen Rankin when we did our episode with Gordon MacPhail, and he talked about, you know, the tradition of Gordon MacPhail is look after your supplier at every opportunity that you can and keep that going, because it means that you keep getting the constant supply of liquid when you need it and good liquid and stuff like that. So, you know, what was the first thing that you bottled and how did you start to grow the relationships?
So we did a few bottlings previous to what is currently the Thompson Brothers, but the first, like, in the Thompson Brothers style kind of was a 1972 Invergordon. That was the first one. We did a few bits and pieces before then. It was like for a bar, for a kind of drinking club with friends, bits and pieces, nothing serious or commercially minded really. When we built out Dornoch Distillery, we had a little bit of funds left over. Our Japanese importer for the gin asked if we would do an independent bottling, and we're like, I mean, yeah, we've done that before, we could do that, and did one, part for UK direct sales, part for Japan, sold out pretty quickly, used the money from that to buy another cask, and then
And that's how it snowballed.
And you've alluded to
it wasn't in the business plan.
You've alluded, and you've alluded to it as well. You're in a global market, and you know how far does your whiskey go? How many markets are you in? And also, how do you establish kind of, you know, is it through distributors really that you get into these markets, or are you doing legwork yourself abroad?
Yeah, so we're just kind of a bit picky about who we work with on exports. So
Sure.
we'll talk to people from the enthusiast scene in different countries to find out, you know, because some importers just really take the piss and gouge.
Sure.
And some the drama and the gossip always leaks out, so you kind of get a pretty good gist as to who's the good guys and who's who's holding back the really juicy stock for themselves that then they'll drip feed into auction later. So you get a good idea of that.
So that happens then, so.
Yes, definitely happens.
Wow.
And then some importers will price gouge more juicy things, and but on the whole, you figure that out and find out who the good guys are, because it makes a big difference, you know, to like this being the right price or the wrong price on a shop shelf or by the measure in a bar in another country.
And that'll matter to you guys, because like one of the things that's come through tonight, and it came through the last time that we when we did our episode up there, is value is so important to you guys.
Yeah.
It was so easy. You could easily, I'm pretty sure most people would agree, for the majority of the drams that we've drank tonight, when you hear the RRP of what some of these whiskies are actually selling for in the shop, we would all probably be more than happy to, I shouldn't say this, but probably pay a $5 more for the drams. Don't go and put your price up. But the point is that you yourself and Phil, you have this philosophy which is all about just giving people, and we didn't even get a chance to say it, but I remember you talking about when you set the bar up, and we're even on the bar now, the more premium the whiskey, or the higher price the whiskey is, the lower you put the margin for when you sell it over the bar. So you make that whiskey accessible for a drinker. And everything that we've had tonight, when you look at the price range of it, it's not mental.
Yeah, I mean, if I put my Machiavellian hat on, you
have a Machiavellian hat.
I do.
There it is!
Sorry, my Manchurian hat. You need with the older, more expensive drams, they sell slower because they're more expensive in the bar. So you need to sell them quickly while they're in good condition, especially if it's like a really light spirit, a low ABV. You need to sell that quickly.
Because there's no point in that sitting there for 6, 7, 8 years.
No, and I've gone into bars to order something, and it's fuck, this should have been amazing, but it's not. How long has this been open for? 6, 7 years. And each year they're putting the price up, checking the auctions, and like the same bottles. As like, there's a cost, there's a value to money over time, and I'd rather sell out at a fair price. And once you get known for doing that, your prices are fair, your value's good, the quality product's great. You don't have to work very hard to sell it, because people trust the pick. They know they're getting value for money on the price, and you don't have to spend a bunch on marketing pushing it. You just get the fundamentals really right, and it sells out. You get paid. So we put something out, it sells out super quickly. We get paid for that. We've got that money then to go and find more casks, to go and do the same thing, and it just keeps it turning. So we can use that money, sell out a product, get paid, buy something else, do something else, and we can, over a time period, we could have done 5 or 6 cycles where someone with much higher margin and greedier prices could have just done 1 or 2 cycles. So the value of just, if you nail everything right, you don't have to convince people to buy it. It becomes a bit of a no-brainer, and makes it all move very quickly.
Well, that probably leads us on to our next dram, because
very nicely,
for yourselves to put out for it,
Well, just explain the concept of Mystery Malt, because we're looking, for those that are listening online, audio only, we're looking at, I could have probably designed that label and I got a cask, but it's a big white question mark on a black bottle. It's a Mystery Malt. There's no indication of what's in this bottle.
But the beauty of it is these are priced, what, 65 quid a bottle, aren't
65 quid.
So the fact of the matter is that what you've been able to do is sell people whiskey blind, where they don't know what they're buying, they don't know what they're getting, but they're happy to just go, take my money, because the trust that you've built up with the consumer now,
Yes.
with what you've already put out and with a fair price, I know that, listen, if they're putting an 18-year-old whiskey, single malt whiskey, an 18-year-old single malt whiskey out at £65, and one of these is £65, I know I'm going to get a bargain regardless.
Yeah. Well, that's the important thing with it is no matter what you get out of the system, it needs to represent a minimum of fair value at £65 with a very high chance of it being very good to exceptional value. We put the QR code on the label, which takes you to the website, which can show you the list of, so Series 2, there's so many bottles of this, there's a 20% chance of getting this, an 8% chance of getting that, and that's to keep us honest as well, because if it was like entirely blind, not that we would, but I need to remove that temptation to like fill it full of cheap slop.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
think
that
I
people
made-
can look at
yeah.
it and know that at minimum they're going to get fair value.
Yeah, because
What's the boxing process like? If you're putting like six bottles in a box.
Yeah, we had to design a whole system for that. So each one gets bottled individually, gets put into crates labeled what they are. Then when it comes to packing, we kind of assign them roughly A, B, C, D value. So each case gets packed with a different A, 2 Bs, 2 Cs, 2 Ds. So that way each case should represent roughly the average value of the series.
Right, because I think I kind of made a very bad business suggestion to you that it should almost be like Russian roulette, and it should be one absolute stinker for like just one bottle in the back, so that someone gets really fucking pissed off that they get like it's just like one bells amongst like, but
Nothing wrong with bells.
well, nothing wrong with bells, but like something just yeah.
So,
Yeah. Obviously.
Well, I took your suggestion, flipped it 180, and I've been having a wee scout around, chancing my arm to see if I can buy very small quantities of absolutely stupid juice, so I can have like 2 bottles.
So
like
someone gets a sold ticket.
I think this
two
is a
bottles of a
much
60-year-old.
much better suggestion than mine. Yeah.
Right, okay.
I've got the Machiavellian hat on too. Clearly.
Let's see what we've got. Who went for? Well, quite a few people are here in pairs, so you doubled up, which was a smart move. One went for A, one went for B. So who's got the A's? Who are the A's? Right. Okay. So do you want to know what you've got? Right, I didn't even know what was poured, to be honest. So the A's have
16-year-old Altmore, and that's full maturation in red wine barriques.
Red wine barriques, 16-year-old Altmore.
You fucked up. That's the wrong way around.
Who's got?
Okay.
Can I just say, sorry, the entire way through pouring, I was pouring A,
Right.
and you were pouring B.
Who's got? Let's start again. I'll cut this. I can cut this. Who's got A? And you A. Congratulations, you've got ton of A, 7-year-old. Hey. There you go. Not bad. And who's got B? Congratulations, you've got the 16-year-old Altmore. So tell us a little about these.
Yeah. Okay. Who's got?
Who's got the smoky one?
Yeah. Who's got? Yeah. PT. Okay, and darker is the Altmore for sure.
We'd like to point out it was poured by 2 dyslexics who were very nervous, and we've also had about.
Right, talk us through. It was a mystery.
So So both of these were full single casks as part of the Mystery Malt. Sometimes. Sometimes for the more expensive stuff, we'll split a cask, so it'll become we'll put 40 bottles into the Mystery Malt, and then 200 bottles as a Thompson Brothers at £200, 40 bottles in a Mystery Malt at £65. But both of these were full casks into the Mystery Malt. Altmore 16-year-old full maturation red wine barriques. I'm not a big fan of red wine finishes unless it's a really long finish, because the tannins take a really long time to develop. Red wine casks, they don't have any char. They're toasted at best. So they just need more time. So 16 years, full maturation, red wine barrique, great. You won't be seeing any, 1 year red wine cask finishes with Thompson Brothers. We're just not into that. But the Torvig is excellent. So we did the first ever independent bottling of Torvig a few months ago. And then the second ever independent bottling is of Torvig as Mystery Malt, which is cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, we were chasing absolutely everyone for getting involved with the Mystery Malt. So the idea is that it's mutually beneficial for them, for us, for the retailers, for the customers, because it becomes, it's not, if we bought a Torvig, well, we did, but and bottled it as a Thompson Brothers independent bottling, it goes on a shop shelf, there's Thompson Brothers Torvig, there's official bottling of Torvig, and they're kind of potentially in competition with each other, cannibalizing. Whereas with this, someone's not chosen to go looking for buying a Torvig. It's just randomly turned up in their house or a tasting. Oh, Torvig. I've not tried many. I tried tasting. Sorry.
Yeah, someone's accidentally. Someone asked for A and they got B, or something asked for B and they got A. It's a happy accident.
Yeah, and if you're whiskey, and if you're a whiskey guy, you might have been like, oh, I tried the 3-year-old. It was fine. It needs more time. I'll wait for an 8-year-old or 10-year-old or whatever, and then all of a sudden you're reintroduced. Go, oh shit, this is good. And so that's worked really well. We find that with a number of the new wave distilleries, where because people are often opening these and trying them blind first, kind of leaving judgment at the preconceptions at the doorstep. You're going, oh shit, Glenwivis is actually good. I hadn't even thought about them. And the Glenwivis we did in this was actually cracking, and so many people were like, oh, Glenwivis is now on my radar, and just because it randomly turned up in their house. So the idea is for them it's mutually beneficial, it's good for the customers, the retailers, it's good, someone's not sure what they want. Do you like a gamble? Do you like a roll of the dice?
Although I saw one person, I saw one person posted on a Facebook group, a whiskey Facebook group, and he posted a picture, and it was in Diggers, and he posted a picture of a Drram with the Mystery Malt beside it, and he said, Mystery Malt at Diggers, and then someone commented saying, what did you get? And he went, didn't bother checking. Wanted to keep it a mystery. I'm like, oh mate.
Diggers have got a selection and it's all the same price, is that right?
Yeah, it's all gone as well.
It's all gone.
Pretty much, there's one bottle left.
Mine is
one bottle.
And so when you order a Mystery Malt, you don't know what it is until after.
No, they don't tell you.
Yeah, and then you get someone coming up to you at the bar, go, what did you get? And then try to work out where the barman's put the bottle back, so they could try and work out which one, if they've had it or not. So, but look.
Because I didn't think this was going to work for bars. It was designed for physical retail. It's barely touched physical retail. It's sold out online. It will eventually once we do some more of it. But I didn't think it was going to work in bars at all. And bars have made it.
Well, you can see one in the back bar there. And
there she is.
Yeah, but it stands out because, and the thing is, it's intrigue, and the other thing about it is, which if you sit around at bars long enough, you'll see people. If someone's ordered that and they're sitting 2 or 3 away from you, and you see 2 or 3 people ordering it, you're going to wonder, what is that they're drinking? And go, what's that? Oh, it's a Mystery Malt. It's only, and if the bar gets it right, like what the Diggers have, and I'm sure they've done here as well, they'll get the pricing right. So you go, well, actually, it's probably worth $4.50, whatever it is that they're charging, to get a Drram and just see what it is and have that. And as I say, it's probably for a lot of people as well. It might be the first time they've even, never mind, had like a Glenwivis or a Torvig or something like that, but it might be the first time they've ever come across Thompson Brothers. Yeah. And then suddenly it leads them onto a completely different route as well.
Yeah, and then you've got that chance as well that you're going to get a 16-year-old, 18-year-old, 27-year-old. The odds are pretty decent of getting something old as well. But the new wave guys are giving us such good casks. It's in their best interest to show off a bit. Yeah. And we've been getting great casks from these guys.
Well, I mean, I have to say, just on that subject, I mean, we've talked about your bottle labels and things like that, and the Thompson Brothers, but that was what got me onto it. It was your Fortified Wine bottling that was similar to an abbey down south that creates fortified wine.
Was that an Altmore as well?
That was an Altmore, yeah.
So, but the label, because I was going, who the hell's put that kind of label on a bottle of whiskey? And then the next one was the Tesco bottle.
you probably shouldn't mention the yellow label with the red wine cask. But so I kind of slapped Phil in the wrist a few times for like, so I have done it already. We're so small, no notice. It's like it's just a one-off whack.
Did the monks go daft?
And he designed the Tesco's label, and I'm like, or the North Highland blended malt label, and I'm like, Phil, you can't do this anymore. We need to do trademark checks. Yada da da da. You know, he'd done a couple, and so I checked the trademarks for the value branding, and a certain big supermarket store had let the trademark lapse and go dead. So now we own the trademark in many classes.
So what other products are you going to be bringing out?
I guess I just wondered because he wants to get it on the club card. So
honestly, we did kind of a broad spectrum across like just about every class.
Brilliant.
So yeah, we'll do something with it. I've got an evil plot that I don't want to.
Superb. Well, look, guys.
Keep it up your sleeve.
I just want to say it as well. Thank you so much. But I just want to say a big shout out. So we've got Alexis has come all the way from Missouri just for this recording. Just for this, Alexis. Oh, there's another last one. But brilliant. It's been great. And also we got a tasting note. Robo CJ, who's sitting at the back there, he's on our Facebook group page now. I'm going to get this wrong, so shout out. Is it Carpat? What is it you said? Capace, which is
that's not what you've written down.
It's a Mexican. Is it a Mexican drink made of? It's a pineapple drink made of fermented pineapples. Right.
Oh, Tepache.
Is that the
Tepache.
No, the Dornoch. He said Tepache. That's over fermented and brown envelopes. So there's a wanky tasting note for you. Well done for that. Thank you very much. But look, I just want to say, come on, guys, let's show our appreciation. Simon and Dan from the Thompson Brothers, fantastic, absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. Fantastic. Great whiskey. Thank you so much for coming along and sharing it.
Thanks everyone for turning up, and delicious whiskey, good people. What more could you want from life?
Absolutely. Now you're at Whisky Fringe for the rest of the weekend. Whoever's going to Whisky Fringe over the weekend, what can we look forward to on the lineup? What can we?
Halftime Orange. It's well worth keeping that for us because we have my very last cask of 1991 name protected Isla. It's Lafroig. So 33 years old. We got a really good deal a few years back and filled our boots, and we had one left. And that's it gone. Bottled in this style label. So we're kind of everything we do, we're pretty picky about it. But this Dornoch Castle 25th anniversary series, we're being a bit extra picky as to what we do here. I hope you like the Glen Scotia because it's a really good Glen Scotia. That's on the go. We've got a little Mystery Malt gamble as well. Can
I put my neck on a line? Say the Glen Scotia was the Drram of the night.
Well, I was going to say, shall we go through for Drams of the night, right? So Dram number 1 then, we'll go for the BSW. Anyone fancy that one? Okay, on Dram number 2, the Glen Scotia. Dram of the night for the Glen Scotias. Okay, so we got a few there. Dram number 3 was the Edinburgh North British
33-year-old.
33-year-old. Anyone for them? Chuck likes the North British there. Excellent, well done. Pencil shavings and birthday cake. Well done. Wanky. Right, and what about the Dornoch? Anyone for the Dornoch? Excellent, fantastic. And then we were on to, what about the Mystery Highland?
Yeah, 18-year-old Highland.
18-year-old Highland, I like that. I'm going to put that up there as well. And then, what about our Mystery Malt? Who liked A and B or B and A or whatever he's got? Anyone for the Mystery Malt? Well, listen, guys, let's hear it for Simon and Dan from the Thompson Brothers. I guess we've done it again, eh?
Absolutely. What an evening.
We've managed to convince more people to come and listen to us and drink some drams, and more importantly, someone to come along and bring some drams for us to drink.
Absolutely.
It's been great.
We've both got our Machiavellian hats on.
We certainly have. Well, listen, thank you so much for everyone for coming along. It's been great. And if you are going to the Whisky Fringe over the weekend, we will be there on Sunday. We'll be working on the rare find stand. We pulled the halftime orange. If you've not watched it already, we've got a YouTube video of Angus and I mucking about in a warehouse, pulling
Sniffing bungholes.
Sniffing lots of bungholes there, but we pulled a sort of halftime orange for that one. We've got a Pulteney 17 and a port Ruby Port.
Ruby Port.
Good job we know what we're talking about.
Ruby Port Blood Tub, there you are.
Well, if you want to kind of put us under pressure, we will be working there for the rare fine guys, pouring all day on the Sunday, so if you're coming along. But listen, Simon, thank you so much.
What age did you say that Pulteney was again?
17.
17 from Port.
Port, yeah. Ruby Port, yeah. So we've got a white port on the table as well.
I'll be seeing you tomorrow.
Pop along Sunday. Well, listen,
Sunday.
I love Pulteney. We've never bottled a Pulteney. I'm working on it.
Come along, try it.
Twin sister to a 17-year-old white port.
White port,
I
yeah.
still haven't tasted that red port, and I worked there, which is absolutely brutal to say.
Well, we got to pick it, so that was the game.
I know.
You had to pull out. Watch the video if you wonder why Chuck's so pissed off. Watch the video because he was quite annoyed when we turned up at his work.
Chuck had to drive us home, so.
So yeah, but listen. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming along. You've been listening to the Whisky Stories podcast. Indie Balls Fire, Thompson Brothers! Cheers, thank you.